Today on the Diz List, we count down the top 5 franchises that need an attraction at Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and today we're going to count down the top 5 franchises that need an attraction at Walt Disney World. I didn't have to look at the script that time.
No, I wasn't going to say anything about you looking at the script.
I looked once quick. It's longer than it's a little different than I originally had planned, and I like the way that our lists went. And we didn't give away what we had,
right?
But our discussion kind of showed the direction that we went for this list, and I like it.
Yeah, because initially I think you thought we were going with like underrated.
Yeah, and it all fits the same with me.
That probably should.
It's still.
And mine I don't think are underrated, but they're definitely. I have no clue why Disney has not yet put something in the parks for them.
Yeah.
You want to know what's funny to me though? So I'm going to tell you about my thought process.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thought process, I was going through, sitting around. I'm like, number one on my list has got to be my favorite, the Disney Fab Four character that I totally identify with. It's going to be Donald. And I was like, oh shoot, Donald does have an attraction. Because I forgot about Tres Caballeros.
Oh my gosh! As you said that, I go, wait, what? Yeah.
But
that counts.
He needs more love.
He does.
He needs more love. Mm-hmm. And I understand that Minnie and Mickey's Runaway, or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, is like kind of everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they don't use Donald enough.
They don't.
He's only riding, like he's in that one spot, like he's in the tornado, right? Isn't he the one that gets sucked? I can't remember. But he's not, like Daisy has a bigger part in that than Donald.
I still think his days are numbered in the Mexican pavilion.
I do too.
Because the fact that they announced on the West Coast that they were going to do that Coco ride. I mean, all they have to do is make some room backstage.
Yeah.
I mean, there's room behind that pavilion where you can put in, a large, I don't know what they call it, a sound stage or a large area to house a dark ride there.
Why not just replace the whole thing?
Yeah.
Make it a Coco ride.
Yeah, they could.
Anyway, yeah.
I don't know how much of it is still usable for that specifically.
Yeah. It'd be cool, too, that they did, like, kind of give it the Navi River treatment, mm-hmm. where it was, where they did, like that black light paint type stuff and make it look like you're riding through, the afterlife. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Which is very much classic Disney too, because a lot of those original rides, like your
Peter Pan,
Alice in Wonderland,
mm-hmm.
A lot of those they'll use that same black light. That's cool.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. On Patreon this week, we're going to talk about some news, but I figured we should bring it up here too a little bit.
Sure.
Our favorite ride was taken down.
Our favorite.
What? I thought you loved that ride.
Yeah, folks, Astro Orbiter is gone. Like when I first talked to Nick about this, I had to be specific because
I'm like, wait, what?
Astro
I didn't
Orbiter's
even know.
Gone. So I had to actually show him some footage of what it looked like now. So the ride, this is pretty impressive that they did this between, they only have a couple hours to do it.
How did they do it?
They removed 70-80% of the entire ride.
The only thing that's there is that ring.
That ring that goes around, it's the only thing left. So it's wild that it's gone, isn't it?
I would like them to bring it back and not have it be that. Like
they should have put something funny in the middle, like I don't know, like a Christmas tree or just something goofy in
Mickey's sorcerer hat from MGM Studios.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
They got to have something in storage that would be funny right there.
Yeah. So why don't we get started?
Sure.
I'm interested to, it's been a while since we've done a list where it's completely blind. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's new here, this is how we started. This is what we kind of was our bread and butter. We're going to go back and forth. Rob's going to start with his number 5, and we'll go all the way up to our number 1. And we could have double ups, and it is what it is.
So Walt Disney World doesn't have this.
Okay.
Maybe people who are listening can figure it out just by that clue, that Disney World doesn't have this.
Oh, is it coming?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
So what I want is Mr. Toad's really wild ride, trackless.
Whoa.
Because one of the downsides with Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is you can see the track and where you're going unless there's a door, and then you go right at the doors shoot open, and
Right.
So imagine a similar ride, maybe not with you get hit by a train and die, and then you're dealing with the devil. But I would love it if they got to the point where you could have a trackless ride system that was. I don't want to say crazy, but take hard right-hand turns, hard left-hand turns that they do similar to the ride with the track, but it's more of a mystery.
I mean, in a way, they kind of do that with Remy, right? Because you don't necessarily know which path you're going. And also
Mickey, too.
And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. You don't know which one you are.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to have like 10 built-in paths.
Yeah.
And the algorithm does a random generator and chooses randomly.
Yeah.
And then you don't know where you're going. You don't understand which door you're going through. And it could be that, you want to talk about ultimate rewritability. It could be that each door leads to a different storyline.
Sure.
That is something I never really thought of. The wild ride being truly unpredictable. Mm-hmm. That could be really fun.
Yeah, and it's a franchise that it's not really a franchise, to be honest. It's become more of a thing because it's been in the Disney parks, and it grew in popularity through the years through generally people our age and older who got to ride that ride.
Yeah, I never got to ride it, but
or anybody on the West Coast. And when we went there, the ride really holds up. It really does. So I thought, hey, let's make it more of an official Disney IP or a parks IP, excuse me, like something like a Pirates or Haunted Mansion, something's original to the parks, even though it isn't. It's sort of become that in an honorary sense, in my mind. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, I wonder, would you want to replace something?
No, add. Winnie the Pooh. We've discussed this before. It's the number 2, best-selling property of all time, and this could go anywhere. Like my list isn't specific. It's got to go here. I just have kind of sketches for these, and
there's places there's places you could put that. I mean,
anywhere.
You could probably put it back in Storybook Circus area.
You put it
There's
in
got to
England.
be
Put it in England.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Because I'm pretty sure I haven't watched it in a long time, but I'm pretty sure that's where it takes place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Go completely away from the Mary Poppins way and go to that. That might be, Just don't touch my garden.
Nope. There's more backstage room beyond that.
Yeah.
So
I
had Mr. Toad.
My number 5 also has to do with some cars. I really want Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah.
So
great property.
I think there's got to be a way to integrate Wreck-It Ralph into the parks in some way, shape, or form. And I think that when they tried to do it over in Epcot, I don't think that's the right place for Wreck-It Ralph. Right?
It was just a meet and greet, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that should be. I mean, we both know how I feel about the Tomorrowland Speedway, but like Wreck-It Ralph would fit well in there because it's about video games and it's about the idea of like they're traveling through the internet. Mm-hmm. So that would be a good place to put it, but it doesn't have to be there, and it doesn't even have to be like a racetrack type thing. It could be something totally different. It could be you are inside of Wreck-It Ralph's game itself, and it could be another dark ride like that. But I think Wreck-It Ralph deserves more love than it gets. Both Ralph and Vanellope.
Well, that's the thing too, and I'm not saying your idea is wrong. I love it and absolutely would want that. But part of the thing with the Wreck-It Ralph franchise is that there's 2 completely different paths.
Right.
Ralph has his own thing, and Vanellope has her own thing.
Right.
With the race, and of course they cross over. But if you were to make Tomorrowland Speedway the emphasis is on Vanellope, which is fine, but you'd have to find, like, maybe the storyline for the ride is, Ralph gets his own car, or Ralph takes over the race or something that puts the spotlight more on him, and then it equals the two out because it's Vanellope's race. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Or there's definitely ways. I don't know how long it's been since you've seen that movie, but like they could do they were trying to buy the steering wheel in the second one. And he going on to eBay, like they were inside the internet. He went to eBay.
I forgot about that.
And so to me, like there's lots of ways to do it where they integrate both of them. Vanellope von Schweetz is severely underrated as a main heroine, if you will. Although it's hard to say whether she's a heroine or not, but Ralph is definitely a hero and an anti-hero all in one.
They both are.
So that's kind of a cool thing. It's going to be, to me, it's going to be interesting to see how Tomorrowland Speedway changes over the next few years, because it's definitely going to change. They've already announced stuff with California with, it's going to be likely switching over to battery powered. So I got to believe that that's going to come over here. And if it's going to come over here to the East Coast, while you're making that change, why not do some theming as well?
I don't see it happening in the next 3 years.
No. I'm saying eventually.
Yeah. Just because of all the plans we know that are going on in Magic Kingdom. And if you were to redo that whole thing, it's difficult to get to because of where it is.
Oh, yeah.
In the center. They could wall it all off and work in that area. And I feel like there's the hard thing again is the railroad. The railroad going around the outside can essentially limit access to the people coming in and doing major construction projects.
They just removed Astro Orbiter overnight. They can figure something out. So,
what is I don't know if you know this or not. What is the status of the train, the Walt Disney Railroad, over in the area where Thunder Mountain is right now? It's still working. I need to watch a video to see.
I'm not 100% certain. I know they were doing work at the Main Street station, but I'm not certain what they've done.
But it's going to go offline again, I assume.
It's going to have to.
It's going to have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one of those things that I haven't really thought of in a while.
Yeah. What do you got number 4?
Number 4 is I went kind of back to my childhood for a lot of these.
Okay.
All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
This one is a franchise that I really loved and almost forgot about. So it's kind of two parts here. One is I would love them to remake it or make a third movie in the franchise. This is another clue. If they could make a third one or reboot the whole thing, and that's The Rescuers.
Oh, wow.
So The Rescuers was so fun to me when I was little because they have if you think of how the movie works, and it's been a while since I've seen it, but they're in the swamp, they're in the city, they're flying on the back of the seagull, albatross, whatever it is. I think it's supposed to be an albatross. But imagine a ride based on The Rescuers. They may have to reboot it before, or who knows. I said Mr. Toad for my last one, so whatever. I'm showing my age here. The people closer in age would be like, yeah, that's the ticket. Anyway, I think it would be cool, and I don't have a solution for this because I'm not an Imagineer, but how could a ride be created where you were in a vehicle of some type where it simulates you flying on the back of the bird? You go into a different room, all of a sudden you're in the city, then you go into a different room and you're in the swamp, because then they're down in the drain and all these other different things. It's definitely something I think would be cool because of the change in the area, and you're kind of solving a mystery.
Yeah.
Could do a really good job with storyline, and I know that's something that the Imagineers like to push is, okay, what's the storyline? What story are we trying to tell here? And I think that could be a really fun one where you go along with Bianca and I forgot the boy mouse's name, and you go along with them and solve the mystery at the end. It's
been a long time since I've even thought of The Rescuers.
Me too, and that's why I can't. Bernard, I think it's Bernard and Bianca.
So I think that would be pretty cool. I do think that bringing back some of those classic Disney IPs that are totally not thought of might be a good way to appease the people who are don't bring in all these brand new movies so quickly. So those people wouldn't be too upset, and then also still bringing in some IP that could kind of, like you say, reboot. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't have to necessarily make another movie, but it would make that particular character and that franchise sort of become maybe something that kids seek out on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
whatever. I would not have thought of that one. I'll be honest with you.
I know. I got a lot of deep cuts on mine because it's stuff that I would like to see in the park.
No, I think they're not bad.
And I don't have any issue with new franchise. Well, a couple of them I don't love, but most of the newer stuff I like, and I'm all on board for.
Yeah.
But it's, again, another nostalgia thing for me. It's stuff I grew up with that brought me happiness. That's why I think it may need to be rebooted. Some of these things may need to be rebooted, and why not? I mean, it's a Disney property. They own it. Yeah. It's great. It's a mystery. It's great characters. Mm-hmm. They're remaking Snow White, which I just learned is coming out like in a month or so.
Yeah, they're not spending a lot of money promoting it because I think they know it's gonna tank.
It's crazy that
did you see the trailers? It's gonna tank.
I know.
It's gonna be awful.
I just wish. I mean, I don't remember in my head what they landed on as far as the dwarfs. I remember they were live action. It was like actual like people, CG. And now they're CG. Man, it's kind of like, I don't want to get too far on a tangent here, but have you seen the trailer for the new Fantastic Four movie?
Yes.
So the character called the Thing, who's, for those of you who are not familiar, he's one of the 4 family members who's like a giant boulder. He's a giant rock. In the previous Fantastic Four movies that they made, he doesn't really look like the version that people are familiar with the comics, with the gigantic eyebrow. Yeah. The version that they are putting into this movie looks exactly like the comics. So maybe some of these people should, take a page out of that playbook and realize, if we stay true to it, maybe, let's say they take Grumpy, right? Picture Grumpy the way, I almost said Grumpy Smurf. This is going to be the reel right here, probably. Yeah. So picture Grumpy and what he looks like in your head.
Yeah.
Now just make him 3D. Take that and turn it into a 3D model.
That's kind of what I think they ended up settling on. Here's what I'll tell you. It's going to flop. It's going to lose money. It's not even going to make money.
If they're not pushing it now, they must know something.
Yeah.
The early screenings must have been like, no, thank you.
It's not going to be good.
Okay. All right.
My number 4.
Let's hear yours, yeah.
Sorry. My number 4 is one that I do believe needs way more representation in the park. And I don't care where it goes, but I have ideas, okay? And that is Up. Up needs to be in the parks as a ride.
Is it still part of the bird show? Because it was, and then it wasn't, and then
I honestly don't know if he is. I don't ever go to the bird show. My wife does not like birds, so we don't do. I love the bird show.
Listeners, let us know. Is Russell and Doug, are they still part of the show? Let us know.
So my issue is that's the only representation you have, right? Are the characters. I think when you think of like Flight of Passage, when you think of Soarin', those are 2 very popular rides. Mm-hmm. And while they're not carbon copies, they are the same idea, right? You sit in this seat, you get put out in front of a movie screen, and it makes you feel like you're there. Like when you think about what Up the movie was, how they have not said, let's just make a big giant theater, let's have people walk in,
put a bunch of balloons up there.
The exterior looks like a house. You walk into the house, you get on. I mean, it is as like it's low-hanging fruit for a reason. Mm-hmm. Now, do I want them to replace Soarin'? No. Do I want them to replace Flight of Passage? No. But there's 2 other parks, and you could find a way to put that in. And imagine what it would look like walking. It'd be like a new Weenie. Okay, we've seen footage this week of Monsters. What was it? Dark Universe, right? And the windmill on fire. And Rob sent me a text. Oh my God, they just built this and it's on fire already. I was like, that's so lame, Rob.
I was kidding, folks.
Yeah. It was.
I know what it's from.
It was a lame joke.
Frankenstein.
So anyway, it would be a new icon in whatever park I went to. Mm-hmm. The front of that house with the balloons up top.
Yeah.
It would be great. And if you're going to say, well, it doesn't belong in Hollywood Studios, it doesn't belong here.
Nothing belongs anywhere anymore.
Yeah. Hollywood Studios? Like, you have Toy Story there.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. You put it wherever you want.
Like why? Yeah. How is that's from the same studio? Like, why can't it be there? I don't know. So Up really needs to be more represented. And Animal Kingdom isn't a bad spot for it because it does talk about like
it's animals, it's dogs,
and it's protection of it is
a good
about
point.
conservation.
Yeah.
But I don't care where it goes. It needs more representation, and history has shown people love those rides where they feel like they're doing the thing, but they are not doing the thing. So Soarin', Flight of Passage, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
So Up, that's my number 4. We're going to head off to the halftime show here, though. Halftime show is always brought to you by our patrons, over on Patreon. Patreon.com/DizListPod. You'll have to go over there, check it out. We've got, mini episodes that we do every week, and we say they're mini, but they're really
Mickey.
Jeez, that was lame. That was the worst dad joke.
Jeez, the dads who are listening in the cars right now are like, yes, you tell them.
Yeah,
tell those bad dad jokes.
I told a dad joke in my stats class the other day, and they were just like, what? Yeah. And it's a math dad joke. It's even worse. So we're going to head off to the halftime show. We'll talk to you right after this. Welcome back. In this half of the show, we're going to do our top 3 franchises that deserve to have a ride. Rob, did you know we're on YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I watch it sometimes.
Are you subscribed?
Well, it's weird watching myself on YouTube, and then everything that happens, I go, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to watch it because I edit it. So.
Well, the other day, you said, hey, something like, did you check out this episode?
Go to 12 minutes.
And I'm like,
seconds,
no. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I was there.
No, we don't need to rewatch ourselves.
Right. You said, was it 12 minutes?
12 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say go to the football episode.
And
go to 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
And there's a funny surprise that Nick put in. So go there. And while you're there,
subscribe. Yes. And the reason I brought that up is because we are going to be doing a giveaway coming up here. And it all hinges upon you following us or subscribing to us over on YouTube. And many people have over the last week, so that's good.
Thank you.
So number 3, what have you got?
Recently, I saw a reel on social media, and it was a bunch of guys that are, kind of nostalgia, 90s, 80s. They did a countdown of the top 5 theme songs from the 80s and early 90s. And this particular franchise ended up being number 1, and it got stuck in my head. Not the song. Well, the song always gets stuck in my head anyway. But the number 1 theme song was DuckTales.
Oh, my God.
So DuckTales, here's my idea for DuckTales. It's going to be more of kind of a family-friendly coaster.
They did a reboot on Disney Plus, by the way.
Did they? Oh, I heard it was pretty good. I never watched any of the episodes.
It wasn't as good as the classic, but yeah.
But they got some big-name stars to do a lot of the voices on that.
Yep.
So imagine a coaster. We'll call it a family coaster, similar to maybe Slinky Dog, right?
Yeah.
Fun, fast, intense, but it goes indoor and outdoor. So most of it would be outdoors, maybe have like you're around Duckburg, but then you go inside, but you go inside the vault. And you're in Scrooge's vault with the gold and everything everywhere. And you shoot around and spiral and you pop back out. So that part is inside, the rest of it is outside. DuckTales coaster.
So if this had been a thing when we were at the age that was, so like 10, 11, 12, I think is about when that was really
I was in
big.
middle school.
I was a little bit younger. Like I would have been begging my parents. I want to go and ride this coaster because I loved DuckTales. There was after school, there was DuckTales and Darkwing Duck and like all those
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So I think a DuckTales coaster would be pretty cool.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be pretty cool.
And now with you saying that they've rebooted it recently, it's brought into our, current
kids
Disney,
today,
they're familiar with it.
Absolutely.
So that's a layup to me.
Yeah, it's a cross promotion.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be long. I feel like it'd be a relatively easy one. You design the track, right? Maybe put some theming up of different Duckburg buildings. You do the inside part, and think about the way Tron works. It would be similar to Tron, where you're outside and you're inside. When you're inside, just for a short period, it's like the grand finale. You go inside and you're spinning around, and maybe there's a animatronic of Scrooge, and then you shoot out and you're done.
I can't argue. Yeah, a family-friendly DuckTales coaster.
Yeah.
I'm not saying get rid of Barnstormer, because Barnstormer's great, but
I don't think we need to get rid of anything.
No. But I'm saying
add on everything.
Right. I guess my point is we don't need to get rid of the one family-friendly coaster we have in Magic Kingdom, but add another one.
Yep. And it would fit perfectly there too.
My number 3 is more for the tweens and above, and it's a live-action one that is also recently kind of been rebooted. I think it's a good one, and it's kind of a deep cut, but maybe not as deep as some of yours. But Percy Jackson.
Oh, cool. That's right. Disney does own the rights to that.
For those of you who don't know, kids love reading those books. My son loves those books.
They do it in 6th grade at our school.
Yeah, but they also, I know my son's read the series and loves them, and it's like matching up that whole mythology stuff, but also just this adventure. I don't want to go as far as to say it's their generation's Indiana Jones, but it's about as close as you can get.
Really?
Because it's like an adventure, right? They're going out on this adventure they have this thing they have to do, and there's all these obstacles in the way. It's live action. It's kind of fantastical, but it's not quite so fantastical that it's completely unbelievable.
You haven't made the comparison I figured you were going to do.
What's that?
Harry Potter.
Oh, 100%.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, in a way, except for even less fantastical, I think, than Harry Potter, but maybe not, because it is mythology. But the whole idea of a Percy Jackson and you could literally just take Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief and make it a ride. And you make it, okay, it's not for little kids, but it's for
teens and above.
Yeah, and it could be a thrilling ride with a really good storyline. And it's another one that you could do an inside coaster. You wouldn't have to do it outside. I'm not thinking dark ride. I'm thinking more of a thrill ride here.
Right.
But I really think Percy Jackson, I'm shocked that they don't have to me, it is typical Disney to take something that's maybe a little underrated and hey, here, this is a ride.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that franchise takes off. I could be wrong, but I think Percy Jackson would be a great one. And again, it's one that I don't know where you'd put it, but I do think it would fit well in Epcot because of the mythology kind of stuff going on there.
Sure.
But no, it could go anywhere. I personally think, except for Animal Kingdom, I wouldn't put it there. So yeah, number 3 for me, Percy Jackson.
This one, I have it number 2, but now this should definitely be number 5. I didn't put these in order. I don't know why I didn't. Okay. Anyway, this one is definitely not number 2 as far
mine are in order.
Priority. I goofed on this one. It's cool though. My number 2 is still one of my favorite franchises, and I know it's one you like. Is Robin Hood. Can you imagine? Okay, they just got rid of the shooting arcade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you give them a bow and arrow.
You have, how Nerf makes those crossbows. Imagine if Nerf has a bow that you can hold, and the Nerf darts load up from the bottom, and it's like a shooting arcade where you can shoot using the bows.
There's a reason they got rid of the shooting arcade.
Yeah, but it's it's Nerf. Why not? Kids love Nerf. That's my reasoning behind it.
I'm not
Nerf
saying,
is a huge.
I'm not saying they don't love Nerf. I am saying that making it a game. I don't know. I
could be fun.
Oh, I do too. I'm not saying you're wrong that it would be fun. I'm saying that I don't ever see Disney saying, "Hey, let's bring back something where kids are pretending to shoot things." I just don't think that's happening.
What if it's all the bad guys?
How is that any different? They're shooting things.
No, they're shooting things in Midway Mania.
In Midway Mania, they're putting the rings on the top of bottles.
How about Astro Blasters or whatever that one is? With,
I know what you're talking about.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, they're shooting at inanimate objects. True. look, I'm not. Would you get where I'm going?
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's ever going to happen where Disney brings that kind of stuff back. Do I think it would be really cool? Would I be the adult who's like, watch this with the Nerf skills?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because my kid's got Nerf guns, and I'm like, every once in a while, I'll just go into his closet randomly and like pull one out and cock it really slowly so he doesn't hear it, and he'll walk up behind him, pop,
Got him.
But
Got him.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, a Robin Hood. First off, whether it's that kind of a thing or not, I'm shocked that they never had a Robin Hood attraction.
Yeah.
Or like a dark ride, or like some of those classic movies that don't have any presence in the park.
Nothing.
No.
Fox and the Hound.
I was just gonna say Fox and the Hound,
Sword
and I was
in
like,
the Stone.
yeah. Well, I mean, you have the sword in the stone, literally, but you don't have any of that.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
But like, there's all those properties from when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now they didn't do a great job. Like they weren't like box office,
No, and
hits.
that didn't take off until I think the first big one was Little Mermaid in '89.
Yeah.
Then they had Little Mermaid.
Was it the Renaissance they call it or whatever?
Yep. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King were like those were the four big heavy hitters.
Yeah.
We'll say early '90s, but I'm pretty sure Mermaid was '88, '89.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they've brought those right into the parks. Those rides have been there for a while. So why not bring Robin Hood? I don't know if I'd bring it as a shooting gallery.
I don't know.
But
I also didn't want to do everything as a roller coaster.
No, I totally get it. And
So I'm trying to
think
think because originally it was like, well, this could be a meet and greet or this or that. I'm sure, but what's something different?
Right.
And I don't know. That was on my mind because they just got rid of the shooting arcade, which I haven't done since the '80s.
Yeah,
that was the last time I did it.
It's been broken. My number 2, which actually is number 2.
Yeah, that should have been my number 5, and Mr. Toad should have been number 2.
So my number 2 that really should be number 2 has recently got some love in some other Disney properties, but does not have any love in Disney World, and that is Tangled.
Oh yeah,
Bathrooms don't count. We have a bathroom.
Yeah.
And in that area where the bathrooms are, there's room likely backstage there.
There isn't.
No?
That's where Haunted Mansion is. Haunted Mansion is there.
Yes, I know.
And then next to that is the giant building for Small World.
Well, you don't have to burst my bubble quite like that.
Well, here's what we do. You go under or you go over. That's how they originally came up with Haunted Mansion. Maybe you go up, you climb up her hair, and you go up in an elevator, and you go up and over.
I mean, even if it's across the street, like
there's space there. Get rid of Columbia Harbor House, and there's room.
Like, I don't know. I just personally can't believe we don't have anything Tangled. That franchise is
awesome.
The musical numbers in that.
Yeah.
Like if you want my honest opinion about like, okay, the Little Mermaid show was shut down for so long. Like we're going to bring it back. No, make it a Tangled show. Cause the musical numbers in Tangled are hilarious. I Have a Dream.
Well, the rumor is they're casting for live action Tangled right now.
Well, I mean, first off, they don't need to cast anybody different than the voice of that character.
I thought so too, but the front runner right now is Florence Pugh.
Oh.
Who plays, for people listening, she's in one of my favorite scary horror movies. Midsummer. She's not Black Widow. She's Black Widow's sister.
Yeah. I was talking about for the character in the in the bar scene.
Oh, the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be perfect.
He needs to be in it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't care if it's a Tangled, like if it's a Rapunzel thing. I don't care if it's Flynn Rider. I don't care if it doesn't even need to be a ride. Give me where I go into that pub.
Oh my gosh.
And like there's songs going on and like an Olga's Cantina style thing.
Hoop-de-doo, just like Hoop-de-doo musical review. Can you imagine?
Yeah, and make it
if there's a stage show that you see
hell yeah.
once an hour.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like
and they just do I've Got a Dream. They just do that number and then maybe one or two of the other songs from the show. Yeah, and you sit there and eat your meal.
Flynn and Rapunzel come out and they sing their song.
Oh, take my money now. It'd be awesome.
Think there's a Tangled themed meal on one of the cruise ships. But like, how? Why is it not? It is one of the better franchises.
Oh, for sure.
And you can't complain about it not, they're shoehorning in IP. Tangled is based on a hugely popular story.
Yeah, and it's only grown in popularity through time.
I mean, you're talking about
it was big to begin with.
Yeah. It's so typical Disney, right? They took a story from, like a very old Grimm Brothers fairy tale.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably a Grimm Brothers.
Yeah, and turn it into an amazing movie franchise. Like, yeah, come on. Bring me more Tangled. So, Tangled's my number 2. What do you got at number 1? Did you actually rank number 1?
It is, yes. Okay. I don't know why those two got flipped. The rest are completely accurate, though.
I was a little worried that you're going to say like something really off the wall.
No. I'm going to reorder them. So when we do our review, I have Mr. Toad in the right spot here. Okay. My number 1, this is going to be a dark ride in a very large area, similar to when you're in Pirates of the Caribbean and you see the pirate ship. Okay. But this one is going to focus on music because most of my favorite rides have a soundtrack that you can really sink your teeth into.
Oh, absolutely.
So my number 1 is Fantasia.
Yeah.
And I know we already have Mickey in the park, but can you imagine going into a big room where it would also be a boat ride? Because when they do the part with Mickey and the broomsticks and the water and him putting his hand up, can you imagine if they had an animatronic of Mickey putting his hand up and the water actually coming up, and then when it splashes down, you could like feel the splash?
Yeah, it'd be almost as cool as like a real Mickey standing on a stage during a fireworks show doing the same thing.
Right, but
I know.
But then you go to the next room and it's the elephants dancing.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I know that's part of Fantasmic.
Yeah,
I know that. In a different park, in a big area, and it goes through song by song, and you get to experience all the songs in the.
You want to bring an IP into Epcot where people aren't going to complain? Do that and have it be that classical music. Like Epcot's about learning and about so you got classical music. My son was just in an all county performance for his music, and they did a Fantasmic song.
Cool.
Or not Fantasmic, a Fantasia song from where the whales are on the screen there. I think the elephants, like you say, the broomsticks, the whales,
all of them.
You could it would be a fantastic. Fantasia would be a fantastic.
I know that wasn't a dad joke or a pun was not intended.
I started to say it. I was like, oh, no.
It's okay.
It would be a fantastic. It's an amazing franchise. Mm-hmm. They have that.
Visually
they have
stunning.
Fantasia 2000.
The colors are bright. You can do projections on the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Or even if the water wasn't real water and you have an animatronic Mickey, all of that could be
Why not be real
projection. Water? No, it would be cooler if it was.
It would be amazing if, like you say, the animatronic puts his hand up and the water comes up and you don't have to get soaking. Just feel it. Mm-hmm. I think that would be fantastic.
I just think going through that and each room being a different song.
Oh.
Maybe, and I can't tell you how many there are. I don't know, 5 or 6. That's a guess. I haven't watched it in years. And then if they needed more, they could go from the Fantasia 2000 that they did, and
which is also underrated.
So I think it should start with Mickey and then end kind of with Chernabog as part of it too, and then have Mickey and the brooms at the very, very end.
Look, I really think that would be a really cool, very, very cool ride idea. And I'm surprised that it's not in the parks other than Fantasmic, because it is something that was a colossal movie and undertaking at the time. And the fact that classical, it might be kids first, and for some kids only, but first experience with classical music. You know what I mean? Like those large scores like that. So I think that's I think that'd be a great one.
Yeah, that one's my number 1. I think it's to me it's needed. It's very important. The other ones are fun, but I think Disney needs this one.
Yeah.
So that's my number 1.
And it's got the patriarch of everything with Mickey. Yeah. My number one is one that I think we're probably going to see sooner rather than later end up in the parks. And it's one that I think I know exactly where it needs to go, and that is Inside Out. Inside Out is
it's coming.
I'm convinced it's going to take over Imagination, Journey into Imagination, and I think I'm okay with it. Even though I'm a Figment fan, like, find a way to keep Figment in the Inside Out story.
I already have an idea for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about that before.
Yeah, they bring Figment through, so Figment meets all the different people, right? Mm-hmm. The Figment of the imagination.
Yep.
And they all introduce Figment to the different emotions. And at the end, Figment does his grand finale, and they sing the imagination song, and all of the emotions sing it together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care if they even... But what I'm saying is I don't even care if they do that. They could probably find a way to bring Figment in, like you just said. But if they don't, I don't care. Inside Out, that franchise, both movies are fantastic.
And they make
huge,
tons of money.
Huge.
Because it's good.
Yeah, huge. And everybody can relate, whether you're the kid or the parent sitting there watching it with your kid. Everybody can relate.
And they did a nice job with the sequel. I mean, it's exactly what it should be, teens and adolescents. And
it is this generation's Toy Story, where Andy, we grew up with Andy, right? As Andy got older, so did we. Mm-hmm. And so when we were heading off to college, well, I was a little bit older at this point, but as my younger siblings were going off to college or leaving the house, that's when Andy was going off to college too.
Yeah.
And so it is so... it's one of those franchises that they were really smart when they made the first one, very easily growing up. Mm-hmm. You have childhood trauma, you're moving, leaving all your friends. You got to make new friends. Then it's, okay, we're in that awkward teenage stage where are we going to be boyfriend, girlfriend? Like all the weird, like that awkward puberty stage. Yep. And you're like, what is going on? And then next, I mean, there's no reason that they couldn't take this through to now, okay, now it's Inside Out and emotions with marriage, and then Inside Out and emotions because I'm having my own kid. What do I do? Mm-hmm. And now you're introduced to new characters, like of the child's emotions. It is a great franchise. It is shocking that they haven't done something already because it's one of those ones where they could have pulled the trigger years ago and people would have been fine with it.
People have been predicting this one for a while. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. So I think that we're going to see them go into the Imagination Pavilion, and I think it's sooner rather than later. I think it's sooner than people realize that that'll happen. But yeah, so let's recap.
In order this time?
In order.
Okay. So a little switch now.
Yeah.
So let's do, originally I had Mr. Toad, but I moved that to 2. So we're going to go Rescuers, 5. DuckTales, 4.
Yep.
Still wrong. No. Robin Hood, 5.
Yeah.
Man, I reordered it. Still goofed.
Okay.
Robin Hood is 5. Okay. Least important.
Rescuers, 4.
Rescuers, 4. DuckTales, 3. Mr. Toad, 2. Fantasia, 1.
I think that's a great lineup. Mine was Wreck-It Ralph was number 5.
Great one.
Number 4 was Up. Number 3 is Percy Jackson. Number 2 is Tangled. And number 1 is the one that everybody sees coming anyway, and that is Inside Out.
All great.
We didn't put in there, for instance, that, there's no Indiana Jones ride in Disney World because it's coming. We didn't put in there Encanto because it's coming. Yep. I didn't say Coco because I like the Donald ride. I like Tres Caballeros, so and that's the only logical place for it to go.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any honorable mentions?
We did a couple through the show. We said things like Sword in the Stone, Fox and the Hound, but there's no
Coco.
Use for them at this point. But a one that I really liked when I was younger, and I don't know what it would be other than some kind of indoor meet and greet. Imagine if they had a meet and greet where you go into this room and you walk in and they have Pete's Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it's what it would be, whether it's a big animatronic or what it was, but I don't know.
I mean, they could just tell you it's there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to even be there. It could be invisible.
Right. That's true. I forgot about that.
Sorry. That was another.
That was a good reference.
Yeah.
That was a good attempt at I don't know. I like Pete's Dragon too.
That's That would be a cool one. They used to have a meet and greet.
No, I'm just saying they
Yeah.
could do that.
Okay.
I don't see it as much of a ride because the original's kind of a musical.
Okay.
And there isn't a lot of places that they go other than the lighthouse and the cave,
right?
And the village.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. But if you don't have anything else, then I don't have anything else either. But guys, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you're subscribed to us over on YouTube. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.